Well, hello, friends. I am Dr. Delphina Joyce, Messenger of Joy, and Joy is presenting to you today. And what we're bringing to you for this workshop is brain, gut, and power. This is all about reigniting your mojo. How many of you want to reignite your mojo? I see you. Right on. Nice. This workshop specifically is about empowering you as a woman. And Suzanne's going to talk about some other things. It's not just as midlife women, but as humans in general. But what we want for you for this workshop is for you to confidently navigate the brain gut connection, providing clear, practical strategies for your holistic wellness. You will walk away with knowledge, skills, strategies, and tools. Anybody ready for this?
Yeah.
Woo! All right, let's see. Who is facilitating? Tell us a little bit about you, Suzanne.
Hello, everybody. I am Suzanne Amaruso, and I have about 30 years experience as a registered dietitian. I also have a specialty in diabetes education, and all those letters after my name just means certified diabetes care educator. So I help people understand the importance of balance and with what they eat, how good it can make them feel, and just love my job. I love to educate, and I'm so glad you're here tonight to learn.
Yeah, we're really excited. Thank you, Suzanne. Suzanne is the expert in the house. That's why she has all of those extra letters. That tells you that she paid a lot of money for all the knowledge she has up in here. And I am Dr. Delphina Joyce, Messenger of Joy. I am the CEO of Joy Journey Options You Choose, and Joy means journey options you choose. Let's see, what do we have in store? There we go, technology. So today's objectives for this session in this workshop is four. One, we're going to be looking at understanding nutrition, and Suzanne's going to dive deep into the gut and brain connection so that you actually understand what is the gut and brain connection. She'll also be discussing the vital role of whole food nutrition. And then we're going to look at addressing oxidative stress. What? What is that? And we're going to move into managing sugar and insulin. Why is that important in midlife? And ultimately, we're going to end with the omega-3 advantage. And we got a gift for you. So I'm really excited about what's to come. Let's not leave joy out. So, joy means journey options you choose. And what we are promising to you is that you are going to walk away with the opportunity to embrace your mindset and you're going to be rising with confianza. So, welcome and let's dive in. Suzanne, talk to us about mastering your midlife gut and brain connection, working with your body for optimal wellness. Hi, Suzanne, you froze a little. Oh,
Oh,
there you are. Okay. All is well. Go
sorry.
ahead.
Sorry. Is it okay now?
Yep, it's all
Okay.
good.
Sorry about that. So I was saying that the it's amazing the science and the research of how our gut and our brain communicate. So you ever feel like no matter what you eat or how much you move, your energy is flat or your brain just feels foggy? I hear a lot of patients say, "I just have brain fog, and what can I do?" So this is really for everybody, not even just midlife. If you're not imagining it for sure, but your body is changing as we age gracefully. I say that, and that old eat less and exercise more advice just doesn't work the way it used to. I like to use the word balance, and your brain and gut are friends, and they communicate every day. So cool.
Totally agree with that. And there is truth in that and understanding that. So, Suzanne, what is the brain and gut axis? Because we're here to learn and we're here to live better. What does that mean?
Pretty complicated. When you think about the gut, you're like, what is that? starting with the stomach and through the intestines and how our body absorbs and digests food. Um, it's a bi-directional communication system connecting your brain and your gut and explaining how they influence one another. And that beautiful picture on the right is that microbiome. We want to have a healthy gut and a balance in our microbiome. If we could believe this, it's hard to imagine trillions of microbes that produce chemicals affecting our brain function. Serotonin, 80% of serotonin is produced in the gut. I read that in a book. And we'll talk a little bit more about dopamine and short chain fatty acids.
Yeah, I know serotonin is a good thing. So we've got a question in the house, and the question is, thank you, friends. Please put your questions in the chat or in the Q&A. We would love to answer your questions because we've got an expert in the house and we've got a thought leader. The question for you, Suzanne, is why does brain and gut axis matter for midlife?
And actually, you think about it matters for everybody, not even midlife. It affects our digestion, inflammation, weight control, our mental wellness, I call it, our stress. So it affects a lot of different areas, as we could see on this slide. Sugar cravings, I hear that all the time. People just have these sugar cravings, and I see, well, let's talk about your gut. You probably have an imbalance and the bloating. I just heard that today from somebody. And lots of hormonal shifts going on with the women, 50 and above. So there's a lot of little areas of the body that are affected, as we can see.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So there's a clear connection between the head, the brain, and the gut. And I have heard that your gut is like your second brain. So
Mm,
what's important for our friends to understand, and thank you, Suzanne, for highlighting the way our gut affects all of our body is that in order for our midlife well-being to be optimized, there are three things that we can do. And we're going to talk more about this, but one of them is to strategically balance your gut bacteria. And Suzanne's going to talk about that. To improve your overall nutrition absorption. So, like, do I need to eat 80 apples to keep the doctor away? I don't know. And
mhm.
then we're also going to talk about what is consistently prioritizing whole foods over unprocessed foods. What exactly does that mean? So let's dive in and break down this whole unpacking of the gut and brain connection. Why? Because knowledge is power. If we understand what the brain and gut connection is, we can make better decisions. All yours, Suzanne.
Absolutely. And we talk about the vagus nerve. That serves as the primary highway. That's the road for that gut brain communication. And that's our nervous system connection. And then influencing our health. Look at that intricate picture, right? Of how we digest food and that whole GI tract, the imbalances in the gut is called dysbiosis. That's the imbalance. That can contribute to anxiety, mood swings, depression, inflammation, and a lot of digestive disorders, which I see every day with my patients. So, things we could definitely work on when we talk about the right healing foods.
Yeah. So here's some real life examples. Um, I don't know about you, Suzanne, but I know that when I have a big event, whether it's, I'm going to present to someone or maybe I'm going to meet a new friend back in the day, or things like that. And I remember this butterfly
Uh-huh.
sensation and it was in my gut. It was down here that I would
Yeah,
feel that. So to me, understanding like that, those butterfly sensations, that's actually your connection to your mind and your butt. That right there is a prime example, a real life example of your gut and brain connection. Can you talk to us about this chronic gut inflammation, what it is, what it means? I know you were talking to me earlier about a situation.
yeah. When you ask people and talk about inflammation in the body, so many people say, yes, I have inflammation or I just feel bloated. And you can have chronic inflammation in the body from your gut being imbalanced, that dysbiosis. And it can also affect our mood, our cognitive function, how stressed we are, things like that. Through that whole gut brain axis, it's just fascinating how they communicate. And we're going to learn more about like ways to balance that with the foods and things.
Yeah, yeah. So I know for this, I remember eating once something in my stomach and the food was great. It tasted great. I thought everything was fine. And then within an hour and a half or so, I started getting a headache.
Mm,
And now I understand with what you've shared here about the connection between the gut and my brain because I thought, well, my stomach is what's going on, but I actually had it in my head, and it is
yeah,
that bi-directional connection that was
yeah,
creating that. So that's
yeah,
important to understand how everything is
yeah,
related, right?
yes,
So
yeah.
I guess in short, the gut and the brain are constantly talking to each other, and
Hmm.
what I say to you affects what you say to me, and that's how that body part, those two things work together. What I do to my tummy is going to affect my brain, and what I'm thinking in my brain is going to affect my tummy. So,
Hmm.
very important, my friends. We've got a
Yeah.
question again in the Q&A. Here's our question. What can cause chronic gut inflammation?
First thing that comes to mind, processed foods and sugar. Lot of I call it simple sugars, processed sugars, all the types of packaged items that we eat. Also, a lot of people have a lot of chronic gut inflammation from gluten and dairy, which we talk about. So we need to look at all that and see what changes we want to make, and maybe some elimination that we could do to start eliminating certain things to see how your gut changes.
Yeah, it's like that testing, right? What I was thinking about was high fructose sugar. It's in
Mm,
everything. I mean, it's just
yeah.
in everything. So when you talk about
Yeah.
things that can create chronic gut
Hmm.
inflammation, and you highlighted the gluten, the dairy,
Hmm.
the high fructose sugar, and what I'm really thinking about is like, okay, we could talk about eliminating, but I'm gonna starve. So what is it that we actually can eat to help ourselves to be better? And let's talk about this health crisis because something's going on. Tell me about
Mm,
this, Suzanne.
yeah. Yeah. In my opinion, the statistics are scary. And in America, the sad American diet is what I call it, SAD. It's we eat so many processed foods and the dyes, and then the high fructose corn syrup, like you said, and the sodas. So all these risks, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, I see diabetics like every day, and even childhood obesity. I'm seeing young kids, 9, 10, 11, who just have a high BMI. And I love the quote from Dr. David Katz at the bottom. Our children are more harmed by poor diet than by exposure to drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. That's pretty alarming.
Yeah, yeah, especially when you think like we don't really always think about food as it's an element, right? So like it's what we
Hmm.
put into our body, and we put that into our body every single day.
Yeah.
So friends, what are your questions? What questions do you have about the brain and gut connection? Put them in the chat, put them in the Q&A, and let's see how we can help support you with the expert of Suzanne in the house and with a thought leader. So be thinking about that, put it in the Q&A, and we'll bring it up as it comes through. Friends, we've heard a lot about stuff that is hard for us and not good for us and what to eliminate. Let's learn about what we can do to help support optimal health and wellness. Will you talk to us about this?
Absolutely. Think about fiber. Fiber is a prebiotic. Prebiotics feed those little microbes, the good guys in the gut. And fiber is mostly fruits and vegetables, some legumes, some things like chia seeds and things like that. But mostly we're thinking fiber, fruits, and vegetables. And we need to eat more fermented foods. Those are probiotics. The kefir, the yogurt, sauerkraut. A lot of people drink kombucha nowadays, and a lot of people
Heck, I'm
take a probiotic supplement sometimes. And then, omegas, good fats, omega fatty acids. We're going to talk a little bit about that with some good wild caught salmon, sardines, walnuts, things we can add to our intake every day. And of course, again, limiting the process, the high fructose corn syrup, the dyes, the packaged food. So we want to put the good stuff in and talk about reducing some of the bad processed stuff.
Yeah, so what I hear you saying is that the good stuff is the fruits, the veggies, the kombucha, the flax seeds, things like that that are going to help our gut
Mm-hmm.
to operate better. And
Yes.
ultimately, we need to stay hydrated because
Mm-hmm.
water supports our digestion and nutrient
Mm-hmm.
absorption. I remember someone once telling me that if you didn't drink enough water, your body is going to just keep recycling whatever is in there. And I also heard that your body cells and who we are is we're like 80% water or something like
Yes,
that.
yes, I think so. 75, yeah.
So I don't want to keep using my recycle water. I probably want to put some clean water in there. Just
E-
saying,
Every,
friends.
every day.
Yeah. So we got a question in the house, Suzanne. Someone is asking, how many fruits and vegetables do I really need to eat a day?
Good question. Well, it used to be 3 to 5 back in the 80s. Now the American Heart Association is saying 4 to 5 servings of fruits and 4 to 5 servings of vegetables daily. That's a lot. Think about what you eat now. And if you're eating, it's hard to do 4 of each. So there are some ways we could, supplement with whole food nutrition. But if you're doing 2 or 3, try to up it to 4 or 5. So the more variety and color and diversity is what matters for the gut health. And that's those prebiotics that we'll be talking about.
Yeah, I was just thinking in my head, like, have I gotten 4 to 5 servings today of fruits and vegetables? And I was thinking,
Mm-hmm.
I had a smoothie this morning and that had some almond milk. I had some flaxseed in it. I had
Good.
some seaweed,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of chicken. I had some almond nuts, some banana. So I'm almost there, but not yet. I think I'm gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
have an apple or something.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm eating all day.
Yeah.
So thinking about that. But what about you, friends? How does it work for you? Because we're going to talk about the nutrition gap and what's going on
Mm-hmm.
because some of us really, like I just said, like we can't eat all these fruits all day. So talk to us about
Mm-hmm.
this, Suzanne. And remember, friends,
Yeah.
put in your questions.
Yes, you think about like the food quality decreasing. So if you live in a northern climate, let's say, in the wintertime, we're getting our produce from where? From Florida. Think about the oranges and the produce being picked, being shipped in a truck to come up to Virginia, where I live. You want to try and get the most, if you can have your own garden, great. I do have a garden. I'm very blessed to have a garden, but if you don't, you want to think about nutrient rich foods, buying fresh instead of canned and things like that. And it's alarming with some of these statistics. 90% of Americans don't eat enough servings of the fruits and veggies. That's from the CDC. And again, that rainbow and variety. So that's why there's that dysbiosis again in our gut microbiome because we're not getting enough and we're not getting that variety.
Yeah. I was thinking about this picture right here and this injection, and I don't know who it was, but I remember someone saying something like, I don't think that tomato should last that long.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Mm-hmm.
thinking about some of the preservatives that are coming into
Right.
our food, and
Yes.
the purpose is to preserve. I mean, our food, like you shared, is coming from all over, and we want it to
Mm-hmm.
last, right?
Yep.
But in that wanting to last, like how is it affecting our body and what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, friends, I'm not telling you like don't eat. I'm just saying like these are just some of the things that are happening. So the fresher, the closer to the
Right.
earth that you can get, the better
Yes.
it is for your body. So
Yes.
well, Suzanne, sometimes I notice food can do different things to my body since we talked about the brain and gut access and I said that headache and stuff. What
Yeah.
might fatigue, brain fog, and midlife? I've got this like gut stuff, this fat, like heavier. It's heavier. How might this be related to my body's age? And what is this oxidative stress?
Yeah. Well, as we age gracefully, I say, our metabolism changes, and sometimes it's just due to different things. A lot of it's hormones. And we can't run from this oxidative stress, friends, because it happens to everybody. Oxidative stress. Our body breaks down as we age, and oxidation um, comes from the again processed foods, environmental factors, the free radical damage. When you think about I love the fact I like to do a demo where I show an apple and we'll look at that where it oxidizes and it turns brown when you cut it. That's that oxidative stress that we can't avoid, but we can protect our cells with antioxidants on the right. And
Mhm.
where do they come from? Take one guess. Fruits and vegetables. They are our protectors. Those are our antioxidants to protect this oxidative stress. And there's the colors of the rainbow again.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is that the pure existence of life results in free radicals because we go out in the sun, we have
Mhm.
toxins in our house, we have all kinds of things that just naturally are happening in life. That they're natural. It's things that happen in life, and our body has
Yep.
to deal with it. And because of those things, we are having oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is basically breaking down our cells. And
Hmm.
so this is a visual of that, how it starts to break down and the long-term impacts of the oxidative uh,
Hmm.
cells, right? And some of the
Right.
damage that it can cause. So I relate this, and you tell me if this kind of makes sense, but I relate oxidative stress. It's like too much spark and not enough fire extinguisher inside your body. And like over
Mm.
time, that unchecked spark can burn through your health, right? So like if
Yeah.
you have too, no matter what, we're going to have oxidative stress, no matter what.
Right. Right.
But if we're not balancing it,
Right.
then with the fire extinguisher, meaning those fruits, those vegetables
Yes.
closest to the earth,
Yes.
and supplements, things that can help our body, right?
Right.
And here is
Right.
that apple that you talked about.
Yeah. There it is. That's the oxidative stress. And the good news, the antioxidants, you take a lemon, and that's vitamin C, and you put that over the apple and it won't turn brown. So that's the protection. Vitamin C and A, beta carotene, antioxidants protect our cells, they protect our skin. That's going to protect that apple from turning brown. So those are the good guys, the antioxidants.
Yeah, lemon. We put lemon in, I don't know if you've heard of it, guacamole. So we put lemon
Yes,
in guacamole so that our avocados don't brown as fast. So that makes
yes,
perfect sense.
love it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we've got a question here. So, what if the real reason your energy crashes, how many of you slow down at 2 or 3? That's my slow down area. 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I start going down, my energy starts to get a little bit of low. What if those energy crashes, those craving hits, and the weight won't budge in your body? Has nothing to do with willpower, but it actually has to do with a tiny hormone that acts like your body's traffic cop. What could that hormone be? Let's learn about this because this is really powerful knowledge.
Mhm. Yes, we have glucose, which is always the sugar in our cells. And then on the right, we have our insulin, which is produced in the pancreas. And that's a hormone that lowers our blood sugar. So every time we eat something, mostly carbs, like even that apple, that turns to glucose. That's its job. It turns to glucose energy. That's our body's energy source in the body.
So if
So,
there's
mhm.
too much sugar, or the insulin is not working, then your cells can't get the energy that they need.
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
Okay. And so this inefficiency in glucose and insulin and the connection to all that could lead to fatigue, weight gain, and various other health issues.
absolutely.
Whew, that's important to know. So if a woman is facing high blood sugar because insulin isn't functioning properly, is the fix just cut out sugar?
That's one option, but there's also lifestyle changes we could do, which is,
Talk to us about lifestyle. This talks
well,
about the insulin
yeah.
sensitivity and supporting the hormonal shifts that make midlife metabolism different. But, some people think like, hey, I'm having trouble, I'm pre-diabetic, I just got to stop eating sugar. But that's a myth. That's not really true.
Mhm.
Because what is insulin sensitivity and what is insulin resistance? Because that's what's key, that the
Mhm.
insulin is not working appropriately. Can you talk to us a
Right.
little bit about that and how it relates to the midlife woman?
Yes, yes. So the high insulin sensitivity, when our cells are sensitive to the insulin, they really absorb that glucose that we talked about from the bloodstream, using it efficiently for energy. Like I was saying, glucose turns to energy or storage. Think of it like that well-oiled machine. And then
Mm-hmm.
if there's decreased insulin sensitivity, that sensitivity decreases. It's like that machine is gummed up, the glucose struggles to enter your cells, and that leads to the high blood sugar, which is the hyperglycemia. Things start to happen in the body and the cells when we have chronic hyperglycemia. We don't want that. And one of the things to help combat that, I was going to say with the previous slide, was exercise. Getting that body moving helps us in so many ways, and this is one of the ways it can help.
Awesome. Okay. So if things aren't working well, we have the positivity of the insulin sensitivity, which means that our insulin is sensitive to our body and it's moving the glucose into the muscles. It's doing what it needs to do. And when there's insulin resistance or a decline in the sensitivity, that's the opposite of, then it's not functioning appropriately. And here are some ways, friends, that you can restore your insulin sensitivity. You've got that moving, right? Isn't that what you were saying, Suzanne? We can get up, we can move around. We've got some
Hmm.
muscle resistance in here. We've got some balanced meals in here, managing stress. We got to do a workshop on that.
Yes,
That's
yes.
really important because some people don't even know when they're having stress, but their body
Mhm.
knows. They may
That's
not
right.
know, they may not be thinking about it, but it happens.
Yeah.
And then we keep running into this reduced processed carbs and sugar,
Hmm.
prioritizing sleep. I thought about this other day. So the other day I was craving some things and it was late at night and I chose to indulge myself, right? And I realized that I didn't give my digestive tract the opportunity to rest. I made it work overtime and it worked
Hmm.
all night. And the result was in the morning, I was a little bit tummy upset. Let's not talk about I didn't sleep very well because I was tossing and turning and hot. My body was on fire. And but I indulged in what I wanted, and that was the outcome. And so, lesson learned, I
Hmm.
won't be doing that. The other thing on here, Suzanne, talks about the testing, the A1C, as
Hmm.
far as like lab work and getting medical
Right.
support to be able to address that. And I know you as a dietitian, you're a counselor and a specialist, and you help support people who are dealing with the challenge of being pre-diabetic or diabetic. So thank you for that.
Yes. Yes.
Any thoughts on that or anything else that you think is important to address regarding insulin? And are there any questions out there? I don't see any questions in this moment.
I think you covered it. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Let's look at omega 3s. And friends, you're doing fabulous. We are coming on 4 o'clock. This is going to last until 4:30 and we'll be finishing it up. So we're coming into the ending of our workshop. And what we're going to look at now is omega 3s. What do omega 3s have to do with brain fog, joint aches? Ow, I have that sometimes in my fingers. and mood swings. Yeah, that's new. What are mood swings and what do they mean? So talk to us about this whole omega-3 thing. I've heard it's hype right now.
Yeah. So it's a fatty acid, omegas. There's a bunch of different fatty acids, three, five, six, seven, and nine. The three is very beneficial if we break down to the EPA DHA. Let's try and say that word. Eicosapentaenoic acid. So we can
Sounds
say
good.
hey, EPA DHA.
Yeah.
So, and the alpha linoleic. So that's a trio combination. I like to use I talk about omegas a lot for brain wellness. If we need the good fats, friends, in our brains to make us feel better, and our joints, like Delphina said, and to help lubricate those joints, and for heart health. So, wonderful things to put in our bodies every day, whether from foods or some people even take a supplement. So, good fats.
And you just talked about why omega-3s matter. You talked about brain health, memory, you talked about emotion, mood, your joints, your heart, your hormones, that balancing. I'm going to make sure I get some omega-3s. I'm going to have to find out. Let's dig deeper and see this whole thing of the physical health and the mental
Yeah.
health. You talked about how if there's a decrease or you don't have enough, that it can affect you and the
Mhm.
benefits of it. So, what are some things that we can do? Because we're focusing on knowledge, skills, strategies, and tools. Now that I know what omega-3s are, the EPA, DH, all that goodness, how do I actually get omega-3s in my body so that I can think better, feel better, not have all those chronic pain and things like that?
Yeah. Look at some of the food sources, right? The fatty fish. We don't eat salmon, mackerel, sardine. We don't eat it every day, but think about during your week, can I get fish in two or three times and have less chicken or less beef, maybe? Flax seeds and chias, I add those, the ground flax seeds, I add those to my protein shakes and smoothies with the almond milk, like Delphina said. So that's a good way to get those extra omegas. Just you drink them. They mix it right in with like a protein shake or a smoothie. Walnuts, I try and make a point. If you like walnuts, friends, I just buy a bag every week and I just do a handful, one little handful every day for afternoon snack. And there's my omegas. And the algae, so omegas actually come from the algae in the ocean. So omegas, the fish that eat the algae, the main source is actually the algae, the green. So we can also get omegas from greens, green leafy vegetables. So think
So, did I
about
get
what
that in
you're
my seafood? When I had I had seaweed today. Was I getting
yeah,
omegas from my seaweed?
probably, yes. It's the algae, yes. I
All
think
right.
so. We'll have to look into that.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to do some chat
There's
GPT
some research.
here.
Yeah.
So this right here, friends, is some research that's been done specifically to omega-3. In case you're wondering about it, you've probably heard a lot about it. And what is this quote that we have right here, Suzanne?
The omegas, yeah. Omega fatty acids bring balance to all of our hormones. Reducing inflammation is a big factor, regulates blood sugar, and making our cells healthy and resilient. Love
Mm,
that.
thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, friends, after this whole pre-menopause and now being specifically in menopause, I've heard a few myths, and let me share what these myths are. This means that they are not truthful. So, I have heard this myth of exercise more, eat less. Um, that hasn't solved my problem of,
Mm-hmm.
discomfort or different things like that. So I'm going to say that's a myth. It's
Mm-hmm.
just your age. Nothing you can do. Just because it's part of getting older. Getting fat is part of being older. Being in pain is part of being older. Having
Yeah.
discomfort is part of being older. I'm going to say that that's a myth. And the
Mm-hmm.
last one, which has been so powerful, especially if you are a yo-yo dieter, is that finding the right diet will fix everything. And I will tell you, I have tried all kinds of different nutritional intake things. I think at the end of the day, what's really important, friends, is that we recognize that your body, my body, our bodies are unique. and that they change throughout life. And if you're in perimenopause or you are in menopause, that there are specific things that are happening to your body. And because of that, it's really important to honor that, acknowledge that, and ask a different type of question that's going to actually address who you are, where you are, and what your body needs in this now. Because your body in menopause is not the same as it was when you were 20. It's not. And that's okay. But there's some really beneficial things that you can do. So, for example, here's some good questions. How can I support my metabolism and hormone balance? How can I balance my blood sugar and manage stress for clarity? How can I reduce inflammation and support my well-being? We just learned about that. Add some omega-3s. That's really important. What are my body's signals telling me about my health? So I remember I had this experience. I was teaching, what was I doing? First grade. I was teaching first grade back in the day, and I love teaching. And I remember I started getting this headache right here. And I didn't
Oh,
understand why. I thought, oh my God, I think I have cancer or my brain is breaking. I don't know. But I went to a specialist and, he had me do all like bend over, do all these things. Well, it ended up being stress.
mm,
I had no idea that I was stressed. I was loving my job. I loved what I did. It was enjoyable. But ultimately, in my body, there were other things that were happening, and my body was under stress. And that's what was causing the headache. And I would have never known that because I thought something was, I'm like, I don't know, something's happening here because my mind didn't realize that I was under stress. I just thought something's wrong. But it was that chronic stress that was happening. So you see, our body's smart.
good
Our
point. Yeah.
body tells us, our body speaks to us. So sometimes we can't get everything we need. You want to share a little bit, Suzanne, about this whole Juice Plus thing? And friends, there's a lot of supplements out there. Suzanne's just going to
Hmm.
share a little bit about Juice Plus because she's been with Juice Plus for a long time.
Yeah, so I kind of like as a functional food dietitian, I found this is a great way to bridge the gap to get the fruit, veggies, some omegas. They're all vegan and plant-based and gluten-free, dairy-free. As a dietitian, I want to be really careful what I recommend and want to recommend something clean that's been around for 30 years and backed by a lot of research. So as we talk about bridging the gap and getting all those fruits and veggies, this is what I decided to put into my body to get that variety that we were talking about of the colors of the rainbow so that we get more prebiotics in our gut to balance out with a probiotic. So again, your fruits and veggies are your prebiotics. And this is called the whole food nutrition. Love it.
Yeah, thank you, Suzanne. So we know, like we talked about earlier, is like get as close as you can to the earth in your food, unprocessed food. But sometimes there's situations where we just can't get enough from the food that we have available. And sometimes that means that you take a multivitamin or you have, like Suzanne shared, some of this Juice Plus. And there's a whole bunch of other organizations. This is just something that Suzanne, as a dietitian, has chosen. I want to make it very clear that Joy Journey Options You Choose is not endorsing anything in particular. This whole workshop is about education. It's about getting education, which is knowledge, skills, strategies, and tools. That's what we're doing. And this right here talks about the reality of our US. The reality is that most of us can't eat enough fruits and vegetables that we really need within the day. And experts agree that most diseases are preventable with good nutrition. And good nutrition means that we are closer to the earth. So we've got a gift to you, friends. You've stayed on and you've had the opportunity to be here. And of course, we've got our Q&A if you have any questions that you might have. But because you've chosen to invest in yourself, and this is about an investment, it's investing in yourself. You chose to register for this workshop and you've invested in yourself. You've given your time and now you're learning. Now you have an opportunity to do something with this knowledge. And here is our gift to you. We are giving to you an actual free gift of the Gut Health Recipe Guide. And you'll be receiving this in email if you registered. We're going to do a follow-up email. You'll get access to this video and this training. And you'll see in there, they've got, we've got a couple breakfast boosters on there, which are smoothies. We've got some lunch and dinner nourishment. Sometimes we just need some ideas, some snacks, and some side dishes that you can have. We've got some drinks and elixirs. Sometimes we just want a mint tea or something like that. Or this right here is the ginger and lemon, which is delicious. And then pro tips specifically for your gut health. And we talked about prioritizing fiber. We talked about fermented foods, limiting processed foods, staying hydrated. We all need our water and managing stress. We didn't dive into that, but we're going to do another workshop, and another workshop is going to address specifically how do we manage stress. So, what Joy would like to ask you, because Joy is journey options you choose, it's about your free will. What would you like to do to love yourself and care for your persona in midlife? And I'd like to ask you this last question before we close on here. The question is, complete this statement. I now feel as if. So, Suzanne, if you were to complete that, I now feel as if, what would you say?
Hmm. I now feel as if I'm more empowered and I have more knowledge to be intentional about disease prevention as I get older.
Ooh, that sounds good. I like that, Suzanne. I would probably say, I now feel as if I am empowered and understand insulin sensitivity more and insulin resistance than what I understood before. So, diabetes is in my family lineage. And I remember thinking, oh, I just got to eat less sugar. But now I feel like I understand it much better. And it's not about not eating sugar. It's more about eating what is better for my body, which are those whole foods, the fruits, the vegetables, the flaxseed, the almonds, the chia seed, the yogurt, those kinds of things. It's not about what I'm not going to do so much as what am I going to do because I still need to eat and I still need to be
Mhm.
healthy. And now I can, instead of putting in my car, regular, I'm going to put in premium because now I
Right.
know what premium actually is. So, friends,
Beautiful.
thank you for your time. If you don't have any other questions or you do have questions, you can message us. Anything you'd like to say before we close, Suzanne?
No, thank you all for coming. We hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yes, thank you all and have a beautifully blessed day.